Hey free-to-play gang, welcome back to another video. So today I want to show you my auto 17 million team, which is really awesome, really fun to see. And as you can see here, these are my scores. I know you can't see it because of my face. There you go. So I removed my face. Now you can see my score and now my face is back. Okay, so the way this team works, I will explain along the way. But let me just show you all of their relics first. There we go. Let's take a look at the run. Okay, so now we're looking at Team 2 and RIP, we got 5 buffs on the boss, but it shouldn't be too much of a problem. It's not going to affect our score all that much, so we are still okay. So let me explain a little bit more about why this team works, at least for Team 2. So how this works is that we have a lot of buffs on this team, right? We have Abigail and we also have Gabrielle. And that's the reason why I'm using Chloe over here. Because not only does she do buff blocker on her second skill, she also has a lot of damage on her third skill, given that she has a lot of buffs to work with. So she's going to actually retain a lot of buffs all the time, which is really nice. Now, in addition to Chloe, because the thing is, she's not going to use her second skill first, which means that she's probably not going to apply the buff blocker at the start. She's probably only going to use her fashion sense, and then the boss is going to attack and he's going to get buffs. So the stage of fantasy is not going to work. So we do need a secondary buff blocker in the form of Brewster here. And his third skill is actually what inflicts buff blocker, which is perfect. So in terms of the turn order and all that, I really like this a lot. So Brewster is hopefully going to land the buff blocker at the start, so that afterwards, Chloe is able to add on a new layer of buff blocker afterwards. And of course, Yunchuan is just here for a lot of excess DPS, which is very nice. And we should be able to push up to maybe 10 million on this team. If we do push 10 million, then we are going to have a really nice score. So without further ado, let's start the auto and let's see how this works. So we buff Yunchuan at the start. He provides the third eye seal. And the rest of my team just, well, they just start attacking. Nice, we got a buff blocker, perfect. So Fashion Sense comes up. And she's probably not going to take another turn until the boss attacks, I think. That's what I've kind of witnessed most of the time. So let's see. Okay, there we go. So the buff blocker is reduced by 1 because the boss took a turn. And therefore now Chloe is going to reapply it. Nice! There we go. So another round of buff blocker. And hopefully the follower on the left does not remove the buff blocker, because that is very important. And the reason why the buff blocker is so important is, even though the boss does not necessarily give himself buffs, he only gives himself crit rate buff. That's the only buff that he provides. But he does steal buffs whenever he lands a crit on your team. So if he does land a crit, he has the potential to steal the immunity buff. And if he steals the immunity, we are kind of screwed, big time screwed. Because there isn't any Esper on this lineup that is able to strip very efficiently. I wouldn't think that Chloe is really good at buff stripping, because like she requires a lot of accuracy and she has not a very good uptime on her buff stripping skills, which is her first and her third skill. I mean, okay, she's decent, but I don't want to rely too much on having Chloe to do the buff stripping. So this is how the buff blocker just like stays on top all the time. So we need 2 different Espers to apply the buff blocker. And another way that Yunchuan helps this team a lot is the miss rate up that he applies, because that lowers the chance of the boss landing a crit, which is always helpful. So if the boss has lower crit, not only does he deal less damage or lesser damage, he also has less opportunity to steal buffs from us, because any crit is going to steal a buff. But basically the only buff that we really want to be more concerned about, oh my god, the buff blocker on our team sucks as well. The only buff that we need to be more concerned about is just the immunity. If he steals the immunity, that's about it. So it's a good thing that we have a lot of Espers here with a lot of buffs. So we have in total, I think 4 or 5 buffs. No wait, I lied. We have 7 different buffs. So overflowing our buffs is also really good, so that the boss gets a little bit confused on which buff to steal. Well, confused, so to speak. And as you can see, he has not stolen any of the important buffs just yet, and we still have the buff blocker, so perfect. And of course, do take note that my Brewster is not skilled up at all, but I would definitely recommend skilling up Brewster. I feel like right now he has a lot of purpose, especially with his R2 kit. I think it's his R2 where he starts off with a couple of stacks. Might be his R6, I can't really recall. But starting with the 3 stacks, very big for his kit. There we go, buff blocker again, nice. Okay, so this is going to be a very solid run. I can already see it. The buff blocker just needs to stay there and then we are okay. And the attack down, also really helpful, the miss rate up, all that. All the debuffs that we lay on the boss is really good. Okay, he's still at the buff blocker, nice. And we reapplied the miss rate up as well. Perfect. This run is so perfect. Look at that, perfect. Very nice. Perhaps one way that we can improve on this lineup is to have debuff lengthening espers. So maybe the white twin is quite useful here, but I'm not sure who... Oh my god, there goes Chloe. Oh, but she can revive. Yes, I remember. I'm not sure who I would replace with the white twin. So if I'm gonna bring the white twin in, maybe I might need to forgo Yunchuan, I think. Because the rest of the espers here are quite important. I need the buff blockers. Maybe I can remove Brewster. I'm not sure actually, because he also does bring the defense break. No, wait a minute, my Gabriel also has defense break, so that could be a possibility. Yeah, I'm not sure just yet. I feel like this lineup is quite stable, so I don't really want to touch it just yet. But yeah, if anything, this team would definitely do well with more buff lengthening. Debuff lengthening, I mean. Alright, I think that's about it. I might need to pause the run real quick so that I can explain the third team. Alright, okay, so that's the end of the second team, and it's quite unfortunate that the boss starts off with his AoE nuke, so we need all our debuffs to land. So for this team, I basically stole the content directly from GG Easy in a sense, okay? So I'm using Falcon here, not just for his speed lead. He has a 20% speed lead, which is really helpful, but his third skill at R6, right? It has a 100% chance of reducing the attack and speed of like everything here. It also reduces the attack and speed of the followers as well, which is very helpful for your survivability, because the followers on either side deal quite a significant amount of damage as well. And lowering their speed is also very helpful so that, you know, they don't remove the debuffs, they don't land their debuffs, a lot of the good stuff, right? So the speed debuff is very key for Falcon, and not only that, he has a short cooldown of just 3 turns here. So he's able to spam this skill a lot, and including that, we do have one additional stack of a debuff that is going to like confuse the enemy, or especially so for the follower on the left. So there is a chance that the follower on the left can remove this, which is great, because I don't want him to be removing other significant debuffs like the attack down and the speed down. These are very important. And obviously the buff block, but I'll talk more about that. So in terms of the buff blocker, it's going to come from in the form of Gaius, because both of his both of his judgments, applies buff blocker, which is very helpful. So he's constantly applying buff blocker, very nice. And then we have Intisa here with the defense break and the attack down, and as well as the miss rate up as well. So these are all very significant debuffs, very important. And she also has a Trojan horse which lengthens the debuffs, which is very helpful. So that's why I'm saying that we need espers that can lengthen debuffs so that you can extend the efficacy of your lineup, for example. But one thing that sucks a little bit for my team is that my Alice is faster than my Clara, but I can't really help it because I need my Alice to be at a certain speed for Chronos. And as for Clara, unfortunately, I have her on an Ocean Wave set, which I think is a lot better for most content in terms of like PvE. So the main reason why I'm using Alice is just for the attack buff, but of course on top of that, she also has the speed up buff on her third skill, which is pretty helpful, I would think. And of course we have Clara here just for the healing, and she does a lot of healing and cleansing as well, which is, you know, sometimes the enemies land some very debilitating debuffs. Like for example, there is the buff block here, and there is also the miss rate up on the follow on the left, so we need to cleanse it off as well. So let's just run this on auto, see how this works. This team is generally more stable than my second team. Yeah, believe it or not, this funny Falcon team, right? Look at that. Attack debuff, speed debuff. Okay, we missed the attack break. No wait, sorry, my bad. We already had the attack break. It came from Falcon. Yeah, nice. So we got a buff blocker, we got a lot of good stuff, and there we go. The follow on the left removed the Horror's Eye, right? Which is perfect. We don't need it on the boss right now. It's not so important just yet. Look at that debuff lengthening. Now we have 3 turns of everything. So good. The synergy is perfect. Yeah, so it's just the follow on the left that kind of messes things up, because the follow on the left removes debuffs, unfortunately. So now we need to apply the attack debuff again, which I don't think we can just yet. Yeah, it's not going to be possible, unfortunately. So the boss is going to attack with an attack debuff, but I think it's fine. I think it's fine because we had a misread up and he's not going to be using his AoE nuking skill. Never mind, ignore what I said. We have our debuff again. We have our attack debuff again. Falcon is just so good. So in fact, I feel like this team is probably going to be like my highest performing team amongst all the few runs that I've done so far for at least this current cycle. Nice reapplication. And now Intisa just needs to take a new turn and she's going to lengthen all the debuff durations, which is most likely going to happen. Oh man, we missed. Damn. Shit. We might need to work on her accuracy a little bit. Yeah, maybe her accuracy needs to be a little bit higher for PvE content. And I love it when Falcon sometimes counterattacks with the Falconer skill, right? Because whenever any of the ads, or even the boss himself, whenever they attack, Falcon has a 15% chance to counterattack with his third skill. Which is super insane. Come on, tank this, tank this. Wow, pain. That hurts a bit. I think we didn't have the attack debuff. I'm not sure actually. Oh my god, the misread up on Falcon. That sucks. Okay, never mind. See, that's why you need a cleanser. So actually, Hengre is decent as well. Hengre is not bad, but I feel like Clara is just a little bit better because of the AP pushing. Very nice. There we go. There we go. So Falcon is unfortunately going to die because he has 10 stacks of the boss debuff, which mitigates all the healing and all the shielding that he's going to receive. So he will slowly but surely die. Just hopefully he don't target. Yeah, hopefully the boss don't target my Falcon and we should be okay. Uh-oh, goodbye Intisa. So that's about it. Not bad. I think this run, yeah, we did pretty well. 16 million plus. I think we can hit 17. Definitely. Look at this. Boom. So close. So yeah, Falcon, man. Falcon is so good. He finally has a use. He finally has a use because of the changes to his resonance. So the R6 I think is very important because of the speed down, right? I think it was the speed down that comes with his R6. But there you go. So that was how many millions? 17.2 million on full auto. I would take it. I would take it. I think it's a really good score. Wow, this thing took forever to finish, man. So there you go. That's the team for Dark Starlord. Hopefully you guys understand how this works. Hopefully you guys have an idea of how to improve on your lineup if let's say you need a little bit of help with your current existing team, for example. So here are the 3 teams for you. Like I said, if you have not yet checked out the first team, you can check it out in the Meredith showcase that I did very recently. You can see how I'm using her to my advantage and how she makes all the difference in my first team as well to get me the 0 buff run. But like I said, even though we had 5 buffs, it's still okay. It doesn't really affect us all that much. A lot of it still comes down to RNG as well. So if our debuffs don't land, if our immunity gets stolen, all that kind of stuff, that is going to affect the run a lot, by the millions. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed today's content. If you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. It really helps the channel, and subscribe for more Dislyte content. Now with that said, this has been Derry Free to Play, and as always, I will see you in the next video.